I went through some of your best performing videos of all time on your channel, and it was interesting that I could see kind of themes in them, right? I could see the several of the best performing videos had similar themes, and one of the really prominent themes was 5 habits that make people instantly dislike you.
Mm. So that's a video about Brie Larson. And around the time of the Avengers Captain Marvel thing, she had a string of interviews that were pretty alienating to
Yeah.
people. Some of the things that she did, goodness, it was having to win every joke exchange. They're talking about, for instance, who's the most powerful Avenger, right? And they're sort of being playful with each other, like, well, Thor's the most powerful. And she adopts this attitude of, well, actually, my character would kill yours. And there's a well, actually quality, like, well, actually, I would win. Actually, I would win. Actually, your character is just a mere mortal and I would win. And it is like cute once, but it becomes frustrating to have someone have to win every banter exchange between friends. And so I think people saw that and they saw some of the reactions of the cast. And so that's one is like to have to win every banter exchange and have a burn that you come out on top of, not a good one. Another one that she did is to interpret ambiguous communications negatively. So for instance, in this particular video that I did, she's on that Wired autocomplete interview. And there's one question that is, does Brie Larson work out? And in a way that doesn't, to at least to Americans, like clearly communicate sarcasm. Maybe it's different to Brits. I don't know. You guys have a different cultural code.
Yes.
She says something to the effect of like, is that a personal attack?
Really?
Yeah. And then she doesn't laugh. And she also, so there's two options there. You could say, is that a personal attack? And then you could laugh, right? Or you could say, is that a personal attack? Everyone on the internet thinks that I'm so fat, just trying to jump on me. I'm trying to lose weight. Like you can double and triple down until it's clear that you're being absurd.
Yeah.
But she said it once and it came through as hyper defensive. And the thing that I talk about is you want to interpret ambiguous communications charitably. This is a big one. This is one of like, if you've watched the show Ted Lasso, this is full of this. People will come up to him and I just did a video that had this clip where he's on the airplane. If you know Ted Lasso, he's an American guy going to England, and somebody says, you know, you're going to coach the football team, the soccer team for us in England. Man, they're so bad. This is going to go horribly. You're a legend. And then he responds, well, you know, I haven't lost yet. And he's just got this general positive demeanor. He takes that ambiguous communication and responds with grace and charm and doesn't make it a fight. That works so well. That purposeful misinterpretation of ambiguations early on that are maybe not the friendliest. This often will take people that are trying to take digs at you and make them flip. And in the case that somebody was just a bit socially miscalibrated, it gives them the opportunity to, you know, not be cast as the bad guy in the interaction. So that was something else that she did wrong.
Interesting. Also, if others are watching the interaction, and if you have a bias towards interpreting the communication well,
Yeah.
the person that was maybe taking a dig at you is going to look pretty ridiculous, and you're going to probably come off looking pretty good.
Exactly. And when we see people defend themselves against words, with some exception, when somebody's like saying that they're going to hurt you, it communicates an insecurity and a defensiveness, which is like, why do you need to defend yourself against the opinions of another? Right?
Like the Trump thing where he said about only Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, yeah. It's like, I don't need to defend myself against this. And it sub-communicates that this is not a big deal. More than saying that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You are sub-communicating that's not a big deal by not defending it. And that's what we do when we actually feel comfortable. Let's say if somebody were to tease something that you're not at all insecure about, I don't know what it would be. Maybe your business success or something. If they come in and like, yeah, well, you know, Steven, real struggling these days. You're going to laugh. You're going to add on to it. And sometimes a way through this is to tag the joke that's made at your expense, which is to add a yes and on top of it. So if somebody, ambiguous interpretation is saying, yeah, you know, Steven, his businesses just aren't working really well, you'd be like, oh my God, dude, you have no idea. I've been pulling my hair out with the last few weeks, just like things are falling apart around me. You can do that because you, I'm assuming, feel very comfortable with your level of business success. And when you can, again, there is a difference when you start to sense a pattern in somebody. That is a different route that you want to take. But if it's just one banter thing that is at your expense, to double down and make it a joke that you're in on is often very, very powerful.
Is there an element to this as well where people will shit test you? Like they will test to see if you have standards.
Yes, yes.
Because if men and women, so I will subtly, because I heard about this thing called shit testing, where like someone will subtly mistreat you to see how you react.
Yeah.
And if you react in that moment and you just kind of accept it and tolerate it, they'll therefore treat you in the future in the same way. But also they will be less attracted to you and view you as lower status. Whereas she might show up 45 minutes late, and if you're still sat there, then that in and of itself is showing that you'll kind of tolerate anything and that she's or he is higher standard, higher status than you.
Yeah. At the beginning of one of my relationships that wound up being a multi-year relationship, but we were just sort of getting started. And I remember we had plans to meet on a Sunday night, and I had been very amenable up until this point. She'd canceled, and I said, no problem, canceled, no problem. And I saw what was happening. I'm breaking my own rule. I'm moving plans in order to make space with her. And so we have a thing Sunday night. It's 9 p.m. We're supposed to meet at 10. She calls me and says that, sorry, I can't come. I'm with my family and I just can't make it. Also, unfortunately, this week, I have this thing on Monday and this other thing Tuesday, and then I have work Thursday, Friday night. So the only way that I can see you this week is going to be Wednesday night. And I had earlier that day made plans to go out with my friends on Wednesday night. And though it was a challenge for me, I'd thought about this earlier and I said, oh, that's a bummer. Then I don't think I'm going to be able to see you this week. She said, what? What do you mean? I said, I have plans on Wednesday. Well, what? Then we're not going to be able to see each other. And she starts getting upset and nervous. I don't know what to tell you. I just am not free on Wednesday. Okay, let me call you back. And she calls me back in 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to come over.
Oh my God, you just reminded me of so many investment conversations I've had with founders who pitch me their business and email me and go, Steve, we've got £1 million left in this round. You can put the $1 million in, but we need to know in 3 days' time because we've got so much interest. And I remember one over the Christmas break where I said, don't worry about it. I can't give you an answer in 3 days. I take 2 weeks to speak to my team, do some analysis, due diligence. I come back 2 weeks later and I go, we're not interested. Is there any way you might be interested, please? You told me there was 3 days for me to make a decision at first. And I told you I didn't want to do that. I took 2 weeks. I came back and said no. And now you're chasing me?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting but you can't, the problem with this as advice is it has to be true.
Yes, don't play,
games.
Okay, you can, at first I understand, you're 18, you've got nothing on your social calendar. You technically are available every minute of the day to be with this girl that you would really like to be with. The advice is often just say no, that you can't hang out when she does it, which I think is very confusing. Instead, fill your calendar. You start to build your life outside of this thing. If you're this business, get other options on the table. Have other balls in the air that are going for you. So it's a hack, but starting to calendar your social life, which is not something I like to be very flexible. But when you have that, it actually makes you much more charismatic. And I see this all the time. So there is something to this. Don't play the game. You don't need to fake it. But if you find that this is not working in your life, start to take steps to fill your calendar. Even if one night is like, on Tuesdays, I watch this TV show and then take a luxurious bath after. No, sorry, I can't do it Tuesday. And this can all get adjusted when you're in a relationship and it's ongoing. There's a give and take that is, of course, going to occur. But man, there's these power games that people play. There's these who is more in demand, and like it or not, it has an impact.
Can I ask a favor? Please, can you hit the subscribe button? If you've watched more than one before, how about that? If you've watched more than one, first one free, buy one, get one free. The second one, I'm going to have to ask you to subscribe. If this is the first time you've seen a clip on this channel, move along. You don't need to subscribe. But if you've seen one before, please do me a favor, help a guy out, hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much.